So, hello, Mr. Carter. It's a pleasure to have you here with us today. I am so very grateful that you accepted the invitation to come share your knowledge and your business with my audience today. I'm going to give you the opportunity to begin by introducing yourself to everyone in your businesses.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the invitation. I'm honored to be here with you on this podcast and speaking to your audience. I am Carrington Carter, dialing in from Columbus, Ohio. I operate and own three companies. One is called McKinley Carter Enterprises. That is kind of your traditional real estate and property management company, single family and small scale multifamily. One of the largest book of our businesses is in the luxury vacation rental home space, and that is under the Getaway Society brand. So Getaway Society is our other company. So all luxury vacation rental homes. So think luxury Airbnbs or Verbo. We are in 7 states: Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts, Hilton Head, Gatlinburg, Orlando, Broken Bow, Oklahoma, the Pocono Mountains, Virginia Beach, and we are expanding to outside of Charlotte in the mountain area, and then the Texas Gulf Coast next year. So
Ah,
it's Getaway Society, luxury vacation rental homes, anywhere from 4 up to 12 bedroom. And the last company is East Chop Capital. That is a real estate focused private equity firm. But we also invest in various startups and businesses, industry agnostic, and we make those investments via SPVs or special purpose vehicles, which are also known as investment syndications.
okay.
So McKinley Carter
Wonderful.
Enterprises, Getaway Society, and East Chop Capital.
Got it. Got it. Got three of them there. Wonderful. All of them sound wonderful. Wonderful. So I guess I'll begin by asking you because I'm excited that you're here because I want our audience to learn about building wealth. We're entrepreneurs, we're running the business. We want to make sure that we focus on profitable businesses that last and that can be scaled. And with that, as we grow that profit, what do we do with that wealth? What are the options? What should be important? That's what I want us to start thinking about, not just making enough to cover the bills and the business expenses, but make enough so that we can start being smart investors and know what we should and can invest in, know, what are the best ways to get into that arena. So I want to start by kind of asking you, though, a little bit about your journey as an entrepreneur. Um, Being that today you have three great businesses, which one did you start in first and why?
Sure. Fantastic question. So I'll take a little bit further step back. So I studied chemistry in undergrad at Hampton University. They went on to get my MBA in marketing at the University of Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mirrored the chemistry background and the MBA, and I started my corporate career in pharmaceutical marketing and advertising. So in
Okay.
total, I did about 10 years in pharmaceutical marketing and advertising.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason I brought that up is because that created a solid financial foundation to allow me to eventually become an entrepreneur and do that full time. So with my corporate career, every 2 weeks, every month or so, I was using my corporate salary to buy real estate. So
Okay.
I was buying a lot of real estate during the Great Recession, and as the economy rebounded, a lot of those properties doubled, tripled, or quadrupled. So again, that created a solid foundation for me to build other companies and eventually become a full-time entrepreneur. So the first company I started was McKinley Carter Enterprises. Again, traditional residential rental real estate. Started with
Okay.
single family rentals in my hometown of Dayton, Ohio, and then expanded into small scale multifamily in Columbus, Ohio. And as those properties grew in value, I sold some and then pulled some equity out of others, and then invested that into larger luxury vacation rental homes. So I went from long-term rentals, 12-month rentals,
Uh-huh.
into much more lucrative short-term rentals where people are paying you on a nightly, weekly, or nightly, weekend, or weekend basis. And so
Yeah.
that was attractive. Again, much more cash flow, and then I have the ability to set dynamic pricing so I can fluctuate my pricing rather than being locked in to a 12-month lease at the same price.
Got it.
So I got into this luxury vacation rental space 2014. So this is, literally 10 years ago. So
Wow. Yeah.
when people say, an overnight success, it took them 10 years to become an overnight success,
Right.
or 10,000 hours, whatever analogy you want to lose. We've literally been building this business for the last 10 years. Airbnb and VRBO and those websites were popular, but certainly not as popular now. They're household
Right.
names. So
Right.
we've been in the industry a long time. Built our first house from the ground up in the Poconos, scaled to Martha's Vineyard and then Hilton Head. And then people heard about what we were doing, asked how they can invest alongside us. And that's when we decided to create a private equity firm, East Chop Capital, to allow investors to invest with us through a real estate fund.
Got it.
So, as far as business ownership, kind of how did I get there? Be willing to scale, be willing to think innovatively, think about different, product lines and different verticals to grow your business. So, started with single family, small scale multifamily, then got into luxury vacation rental homes, mostly self funded. But then, okay, how can I scale from there?
Got it.
Let's bring investors on board. How do we bring investors on board? So,
Mhm.
as you think about scaling your business, just think about different product offerings, different services, different investors and clientele who might want to come on board, and always follow trends as far as kind of what's next and what are some of the long term ways to build a business.
Oh, great, great. I love that. You gave us a couple of good nuggets in there. One, the first thing that I noticed was you said while you were working your corporate job, you were um, you were realizing your investment plans. You were making investments, so you weren't making income to spend that income. You were making that income and using it for a purpose. So,
Yes.
what informed that choice for you to become an investor and to build wealth? Can you point to either the time of your childhood or something that happened, or what developed this mindset
Yeah.
in you to be an investor?
Yeah, my so no one in my family were really entrepreneurs and certainly not real
Okay.
estate investors. My
Uh-huh.
father worked first he was in the army and then he worked in manufacturing operations management. My mother was an educator, so they've definitely stressed the importance of education. But kind of
Right.
what changed the trajectory, freshman year at Hampton University, I took a university honors 101 honors course,
Uh-huh.
and it was about money management, financial management, and the text for the course was Rich Dad Poor Dad, which I'm sure everyone has heard of.
Ah, yes,
So
yes.
freshman year, and that book taught me the concept of having your money work for you instead of working for your
Mm,
money.
mm,
So saw that book or read that book and kind of adopted that philosophy. Started investing in stocks a little bit based on the limited knowledge that I knew,
right.
and then always knew I wanted to get into real estate, but again, didn't have the capital. But then after grad school and after I got my first job in pharmaceutical marketing in corporate America, I was making, low six figures. And I saw a lot of, I guess the second thing, which kind of evolved my thinking as it relates
Uh-huh.
to investing, is the Great Recession.
Okay.
So a lot of people lose their job or couldn't
Mm,
get a job, or scared for those 4 o'clock Friday meetings to pop on their calendar when they might get laid off. So
right.
I didn't really like not having control of my destiny.
Mm,
So literally, rather than spending, I was investing all of my paychecks, like
got
as
it.
much as I could, buying properties. So I would invest and then spend what's left. A lot of times we spend and then invest what's left.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. You
Yep.
did it the other way around. Wonderful, wonderful. So I love that that you shared that story because that process allows us all to realize that you you don't have to be born in an atmosphere where this stuff is every day, right? You can something can spark your interest. You do a lot of self-education, self-reading,
Yep.
set yourself goals and then make it happen. So I
Absolutely.
love that you share that story that your journey can begin anywhere and then you can end up with three great businesses, right?
Yep.
Because you put the time in and you use that money wisely. I love that
Absolutely.
you share that with
Absolutely.
us. So thank you for that. So in looking at building wealth, especially as a Black person in America, I know I've listened to you before because we met at the Black Travel Summit.
Yep.
And I remember distinctly you talking about having 7 streams of income.
Yep.
Can you talk
Yep.
about that a little? Can you share that a little with us?
Yeah. Yeah. So they said the average millionaire needs 7 streams of income, or the average millionaire has 7 streams of income.
Okay.
Most of us just have one, your earned income. So that's your job. That's your 9 to 5. That's selling your time in exchange for compensation.
Okay.
Unique thing about earned income, it's usually taxed at the highest rate. So
Mm,
7 streams of income. You got earned income, you got rental income, you got capital gains income, royalty income from what do you call it? From selling books or music, royalty income. You have dividend income from owning stocks. Um, what else? I'm missing a couple other ones. I can see that I can see the graph in my head, but at the end of the day, the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. So as you think
okay.
about your wealth building journey, how can you add income streams over time? You're likely not going to start out with 7 income streams. So and part of the strategy, one of the strategies of Rich Dad Poor Dad is turn your earned income into passive income and portfolio income. So how can you take your 9 to 5? How can you take the income from your business, from your entrepreneurship business, from your consulting? How can you take that earned income, buy real estate? Now you got rental income. How and buy stocks? Then you got dividend income. And then buy ownership in businesses. So as you hold that ownership stake in a business and then it sells, then you got capital gains income. So how can you take that earned income and flip it in a bunch of different things? Um, Lending income, interest income from
Okay.
lending. That was another one. Interest income from lending.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. A lot of great information you gave us there. So usually, to your point, most of us have one stream of income, which is our job income, and there we're trading our time. So the amount of that you can make is limited.
Yep.
It's how
Yep.
many hours can you work or how much can you work? And when you think about work versus retirement, how long can you work, right? So during that time, you have the opportunity to look at different other income flows, rental you talked about, royalty, capital gains, dividend income, interest from lending. So you spoke earlier about investing in stock while you were earning income from your corporate job. How did you learn about investing in stock?
Reading books.
Okay.
Reading books. We're in the information age. There's
Oh
no
yeah.
shortage of information out
Mm-hmm.
there. I consume information by books. I guess I'm kind of old school that way. That's how I learn.
Uh-huh.
Whether some people like podcasts, some people like going to conferences and hearing lectures or going to
Okay.
school.
Uh-huh.
Some people learn from Instagram and seeing little snippets and videos and things like that. So there's no shortage of information out there. A lot of times, you mentioned setting goals.
Mm-hmm.
Set goals on what you want to learn and what kind of things you want to become involved in, and then stay disciplined. And then, especially in our community, we need to be choice. We need to be prudent about choosing. I'm sorry, education over entertainment.
Ah,
Education over entertainment. Like it is so
ah.
easy to binge watch Netflix and to watch the
Mm-hmm.
latest show and
Mm-hmm.
go to the movie and do all these other things. Go out, like do that, but
Right.
balance.
Right.
It comes back to setting goals. Like if you just want to stay status quo and you don't want to build wealth, or you just kind of want to coast on to retirement and then travel the world, like that's totally up to you. But if your goals are a little bit more ambitious and you want to build wealth and understand stocks, and then you're gonna have to choose education over entertainment.
Got it.
Yeah,
Got
so
it.
I read books, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then Seth Godin, if you're clueless about the stock market and want to know more. There, Jim Cramer is another one who talks a lot about stock market investing. Warren Buffett, Benjamin Graham. There's no shortage of information out there. It's just being choiceful with your time and making that
It's
investment to teach yourself and learn from others.
exactly, exactly. I love that.
And then one other
One,
thing I'll mention, so this is one of Jim Cramer's quotes. If you don't have, so if you're going to invest in individual stocks, 1 hour per week per stock. Like, don't just buy stocks because you heard somebody say something about it, you saw it on TV. You need
Right.
to 1 hour per week per stock. Put time in knowing the stock, knowing the business, knowing the management, their strategies. If you don't have time to stay informed about your investment, then buy an index fund. Buy
Okay.
an index fund. Buy a more passive investment where it's a mutual fund that gives you exposure to the broader market or certain sectors. If you don't have time to do the homework, then
Got
get an
it.
index fund.
Got it. Wonderful, wonderful. I love that. Let's talk about your real estate businesses. You went from the single family homes to the luxury rentals. What would you say has been your biggest challenge between those two? And which of those would you say, I guess, you like most and which is most profitable?
Good question. We're familiar with the term diversification. So I think
Yeah.
diversification is key even in real estate.
Hmm.
So I like the consistency of the single family rentals. You screen the tenant right, and then you get them in there, and then you treat them well, and then for the most part, people like to be left alone.
Uh-huh.
And so once you get a good tenant in, you and invest in the property and the maintenance and upkeep, there's not as much to worry about. With the short term rentals, I mentioned they can be a lot more lucrative,
Hmm.
maybe better returns, faster price appreciation. But with that, travel and hospitality, it is somewhat tied to the economy. So whereas people are always going to need a place to stay long term,
Right.
sometimes with travelers, it could fluctuate based on the economy, jobs, and things like that. So there could be ebbs and flows, or you could be invested in an area that no longer becomes popular. So people don't go to that area anymore. So there's some demand factors which could impact your performance. So that's a difference there. I would say short-term rentals is more sexy, more fun.
Uh-huh.
We have properties in a lot of resort locations near lakes, beaches, mountains, and entertainment destinations like Disney.
Hmm.
So that's kind of a sexier part about our business. And then there's personal use. So traditional rentals, 12-month rentals, like I'm never going to use those personally.
Right.
But our short-term rentals, if they're open, then I can go up there with my family or friends, or I can donate weekends for nonprofit organizations to help them raise money, or I can
Mm.
give away free stays to family, friends, clients, and things like that. So we call it the soft ROI benefit.
Mm.
Hard ROI or your dividends, your annual returns, your profitability, but the soft ROI is kind of some of those intangible benefits, like being able to use it and learn and yeah, it's a little bit more fun.
Got it. Got it. Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Now tell us a little about East Shop Capital.
Yeah. So East Shop Capital is our private equity firm. As more people ask how they can invest alongside us, that's why we created that firm. And so naturally, our first two funds were focused on not just real estate, but luxury vacation rental homes, because that's what we have the most experience in. Whenever you're raising money from investors, you got to have a track record. People want to
Hmm.
know that you know what you're doing. You've done it a long time. You've delivered results. So, if I were to try to raise money to build or to start a restaurant or to start a tech company or build a multifamily apartment, people would have been more skeptical about investing in me because I didn't have a track record.
Got it.
So East Chop Capital, our first fund, we raised $4 million. That fund is on track to deliver about 25 or 30% returns net of fees. So that fund is going extremely well. Our second fund, we raised a little bit over $11 million,
Okay.
almost three times as much as the first one. However,
Right.
we did fall short of our goal. Our target was 50 million.
Okay.
Um, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of details about that, but at the end of the day, it's challenging raising capital. Period, but it's even more challenging raising capital as a person of color, as a
Hmm.
black male,
Yes.
because of lack of access to capital and relationships and um, and just not having the right connections in order to get the big checks to believe in us. And
Got
then
it.
also, wealth gap.
Hmm.
Our minimum investment was 100K. We have a couple of investors who wrote, $250,000 checks, 300,000, 500,000. But oftentimes, white folks tend to be more wealthy.
Right.
So you may have Uncle Joe that wrote you a $500,000 check or a $1 million
Right.
check, or or so and so's aunt died and left them $3 million, so they can give
Right.
you a 2 million. Like it's just an entirely different dynamic where we don't have
Exactly.
access to that capital. So real estate vacation homes with East Chop Capital, and then separately from that, I mentioned we invest in various industries and companies um, through groups, and we call those investing through syndications. And
Okay.
so with that, so under the East Chop Capital umbrella, we have about 175 investors across our first fund, our second fund, Uncle Nearest Premium Whiskey.
Uh-huh.
We've invested about $3 million in that company. And then actually yesterday, Harvard Business School did a case study on Uncle Nearest Premium Whiskey and the CEO, Fawn Weaver. And then my business partner, Calvin Butch Jr., was also quoted in that Harvard Business School case study, which
Ah,
debuted yesterday, talking about our support and our investment in Uncle Nearest Premium Whiskey. So that was exciting for us.
very nice. Yeah, that
Um,
sounds exciting.
we've also invested in two venture capital funds. We've invested in a real estate debt fund. We're looking to build a hotel. And there are about a handful of professional sports teams. We're looking at investing in a couple of professional sports teams. So industry, so real estate one on the one hand,
Yes.
and then different investments in various industries on the other hand.
Wonderful, wonderful. I love that. That's exciting stuff. And to your point, like you told us in the beginning, to have our mindset on other ways of making income and scaling. And that's exactly what you just
Yep.
displayed to us. The other things that are in the works in your mind for scaling and divesting and
Yep.
wonderful, wonderful. So with all that, when we're looking at today's entrepreneur, getting started in business, what advice would you give for, I guess, for a lack of a better word, for budgeting and being mindful of your spend, right?
Yep.
For setting goal, what would be like baby steps for setting goals to get started in using your money more wisely?
Yeah, so I think on one hand, there's kind of the personal finance side. Trying to make sure your personal house is in order, making sure you're setting aside money for retirement. You have cash reserves. You are partnering with other like-minded people when
Mm,
possible to help kind of
right.
share the risk, share some of the responsibility. I'm big on partnership, and teamwork makes the dream work.
Hmm.
And then from a business budgeting standpoint, really understand your business, understand your revenue generators, understand which products or services have higher margins. So where should you be spending your time to generate the highest amount of return for your work? Um, I would also say extend yourself grace. Extend yourself grace. Building a business, entrepreneurship is extremely difficult.
Mm,
Everybody is wearing 10, 15, 20 hats. There's a
yes,
lot on your
yes.
plate. Things are going to be messy. There may be some robbing Peter to pay Paul,
Right.
and messiness with the bank accounts and
Uh-huh.
credit cards and maxing stuff out. Like it's survival. A lot of times it's a
Yes.
survival. So unless you're in it, unless you're doing it, you won't understand it. Your
Right.
friends may not understand it. Your parents may not understand it. Your spouse may
Right.
not understand it. So just sometimes you got to extend yourself grace and do as best you can. Stay persistent. Stay vigilant. But it's tough. It's tough. It is
Um,
tough. It's tough being in business, staying in business, and certainly growing a business.
yes, yes, I love that. Thank you for sharing that because a lot of us think it's looking at someone, like you with three businesses and with these ideas for how you're going to expand, we would think, oh, it must come easy for him. He never had to struggle in his business. He just had everything set up. He had the money saved and he started investing it, it just everything just fell into place. But I'm so happy you shared that so that we know, and our listeners understand that we are not alone. We all go through the same process of wearing all the hats, of
Yep.
having to study to figure it all out because it's just us usually when we first get started. We may
Yep.
add partners later on, but there's a time frame where it's just us learning to do everything that needs to be done. And
Yep.
some of them we're strong in doing, some of them we're not. We have to show up our talent and our knowledge to be able to go through it, and that they're going to be ups and downs,
Yep.
and
Yep.
not everyone understands the entrepreneur journey.
Yep.
Not everyone
Yep.
can relate to what you're going through, why you're not going out, why you're not taking this trip, why you're saving this money. So
Hmm.
you have to just stay focused and be steadfast.
Yep. Yep.
So, in being an entrepreneur, what would you say you like most and you've enjoyed least about being an entrepreneur?
I would say most is, kind of to a certain extent having control of your own destiny. I mean, you have a vision, you have goals, you have objectives, and there are a lot of factors that are gonna impact you, but at the end of the day, it's your effort, it's your persistence, your discipline, and your grit and your work ethic that will determine whether or not you accomplish your goals and your vision. So there's a certain amount of but with that comes accountability. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
succeed, it's on you. If you fail, it's on you.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's so that's one of the rewarding aspects of it. You have control of your destiny, and you can there's no limits on your potential, and how successful or how large or small you are. So that's one of the things that I enjoy. I also enjoy being able to again chase my own visions and goals, and versus where if I worked for a corporation or employer, then I'm working for somebody else's vision,
Right.
and what somebody else wants to do. And so it's a privilege. It's a privilege in that aspect to be an entrepreneur.
Uh-huh.
What I don't like about it is just it's tough. Like it is very,
Yes.
very, very hard. People say some people if you if you quit a job or a corporate or whatever, that you're working 40 hours a week, prepare to work 100 hours a week for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's not less work, there's more work. There's there's
Uh-huh.
there's early mornings, there's late nights, there's stress. Um, there's it takes a long time to build and to scale, and even longer for Black owned businesses because we don't have the access to capital to scale and the resources. So what don't I like about it? It is very, very hard, and it could be easier. But on the flip side, I said what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Uh-huh.
So if I didn't have the trials, the tribulations, the challenges, um, like I'm getting better, I'm getting smarter, I'm getting
Got it.
tougher. It's equipping me to deal with when the stakes are higher, when the
Right.
numbers are higher, when the deals are
Right.
higher. I'll have those bumps and bruises and those experiences, which are gonna prove to be invaluable down the line.
Got it. Got it. I love that. I love that. So, in talking about the stress and the toughness of being an entrepreneur, what do you do to maintain a balance? Because I'm a very strong advocate of mental health and spiritual health. So, as we build our businesses, share with us some of the things you do to just tap back into your mental healthiness and to relieve stress.
Yeah, probably not enough. Probably not enough. I think gratefully, I enjoy working. I enjoy building businesses. Maybe I enjoy the stress a little bit, the challenges. I don't know, maybe because
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I probably would have lost my mind and gone crazy if I wasn't naturally equipped to kind of deal with it.
Uh-huh.
This year, I'm going to be a little bit more purposeful to enjoy life, to travel. My wife has been right along with me,
Uh-huh.
building, sacrificing,
Uh-huh.
delaying gratification. She's been a huge supporter. Um, and then I turned 40 last year. I'll be 41 this year.
Ah,
And
okay.
so, as you get older, I guess the morbid part of it is,
Right.
more of my friends are starting to lose their parents. Some of my peers are starting to pass away. So you get a kind of different perspective on life and how life is short. So you got to kind of stop and smell the roses and enjoy yourself a little bit. But then also, I have a unique skill set where I have vision, and I have the ability to execute and mobilize people and a team and investors. So it's like to whom much is given, much is required. Like I
Uh-huh.
could heads down, just my wife and I do our own real estate and leave everybody else out,
Right.
but there need to be more, especially Black owned businesses that are operating at scale. tens of millions,
Yes.
hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. And
Yes.
then the multiplier effect of that.
Hmm.
Not just building wealth for ourselves and our investors, but employing other minorities, other people of color, having internship programs with HBCUs, working
Mm.
with other black business owners and realtors and contractors and builders. There's that multiplier effect that is necessary in our community, and you don't get to that multiplier effect until you get to scale. So
Exactly.
I have the skills to get there. So who much is given, much is required, and it's an obligation that I use to what I have to get there and to do that, even though it's stressful.
Wonderful. Yes, it is. But I'm glad you said you're going to be more mindful of it this year and put
Yeah.
more into that. But I love what you shared about
Oh,
scaling and the
let me say one more
multiplier.
thing.
Go ahead.
So one of the things that I have enjoyed. So I'm a season ticket holder with the Columbus Crew. It's a major league soccer team.
Okay.
We actually just won the championship last year. So I'm a
Ah,
season ticket holder. My tickets are pretty expensive, but it's been a welcome it's been a welcome distraction. So whenever there's game day, it's 3 or 4 hours
gotcha.
where I'm at the game. I'm eating, drinking, having a good time, watching the
Right,
game, friends,
right.
family, clients. So that's kind of where I'm tuned out. So that's my escape. That's been my
That's
escape.
good. Yes, yes, good. Very healthy. I love that. I love that. You spoke about the multiplier effect and about scaling businesses. Those are two things that I am very adamant about. I remember hearing T.D. Jakes once, and he was talking about if you're running a business, he said most entrepreneurs that have a business, they run it in a way that if they stepped away, it could not keep running. Like they couldn't step away for 3 months and everything keep going. And you have to build your business so that you don't have to be there. Otherwise, you're sacrificing your quality of life. And you don't really have a business, you have more of a job, right? Because you didn't build a system where it can keep going and keep growing. You built something where you had to be one-on-one and hands-on. You've created a job. You created your own job and you're paying yourself for that job. So when you talk about being scalable, that means being able to build something with the mindset of I want this to run when I am not here, and I want to add more people to this process. I want to be able to hire more people and have those internship programs, right? So you're thinking on a much larger level than just for yourself. And that's the multiplier effect in the scalability. Because I find a lot of entrepreneurs end up having expensive hobbies, like it's something they love to do that should just stay a hobby in their business should really be something else. Like if I love baking cakes, I love baking cakes occasionally, right? They may be really good, but it's not something I really want to turn into a business and do it every day and have to have that product out and have to meet that demand, right?
Yep.
Then
Yep.
it's not fun anymore, right? So I think one of the things that we need, one of the reasons that our businesses don't last through that 5 year term is because a lot of them start out as expensive hobbies and then we fall out of love with them and the business shuts down. You spoke about going to raise capital and having to have a track record of success in what you were doing. So you're going to raise capital and speak to investors to invest in something that I've already had success in this area. This is what I've done. This is my book of work, and I'm just going to get bigger and better doing it. So I'm thinking about entrepreneurs that I've spoken with that have a hard time pitching what they do to people and being able to express what their business is about. What type of advice do you have for that process of being able to tell your story? How important do you find that was in being able to get investors to believe in what you could do?
Yeah, I think it's a couple of things. You mentioned track record, so I think track record and skin in the game is kind of the ante, kind of the bare minimum. Make sure you have a track record of success. You've been doing it for a while. You have credibility, and then you have your own skin in the game. You have your own money in the game. Why should other
Mm,
people lend you money if you haven't put your own money in the pot? Now, even if you don't have capital, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not necessarily advocating for it, but it is what it is. I mean, credit cards and personal loans from friends and family, you got to do what it takes to kind of scale your business. So, a track record, know what you're doing, and then having your own skin in the game. Being able to clearly articulate, your elevator pitch. What's your product or service? How do you make money? Um, how much are you requesting from investors? What are you going to use it for? What's the return on that money? When are they going to get money back? So the story or the pitch to investors and being able to articulate that. And then there's from I mean, raising money. It's kind of sales. It's kind of you're selling your
Yes.
product or service to investors, and if they buy it, then you get an investment. And part of sales is targeting. So you have to know who to talk to.
Mm,
So certainly you want to talk to people who have money, who have capital, whether it's a lot or a little. A basic minimum. They have to have capital. They have to be open to investing. I think it also helps from a targeting and a segmentation standpoint. If you're baking cakes, find people who know baking, who know cooking, who have
mm,
invested in another bake shop, or who know the restaurant business, or
mm-hmm.
maybe they work in hospitality, they work at a hotel, so they kind of understand the food and beverage part of it. Or if it's real estate, find people who invest in other real estate. If you're trying to grow your dental practice, talk to other dentists, talk to doctors, talk to nurses. So from a segmentation standpoint, try to pitch to people who may have some kind of baseline level of of your business,
Got it.
because it'll be an easier sell. I'll say a couple of things, and this is why I like real estate. Real estate is collateral, so it allows you can get loans from banks based on your collateral, and you can take that money to invest in your business.
Got it.
That's a way to grow. And then lastly, and this is nothing you can do as an entrepreneur or business owner, it's a barrier in our community is just the wealth gap and just not having capital.
Yes.
Um, we need more. It needs to be a regular part of, for those of us who have made it and who are doing well and,
Uh-huh.
multiple six figures, like it needs to be a part of our community to sow seeds of, I believe in you capital.
Mm.
Like,
I love
okay,
that.
I see your business. I understand your potential. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm going to give you a chance. I believe in you.
Mm.
I'm going to put some wind behind you. I'm going to support you. Um, if you make the money back, great.
Uh-huh.
But if you lose it, it's not going to kill you. But just being willing to put some I believe in you capital behind people. They may not have a 5-year business plan or a 10-year business plan. They may not be able to see the future. They may just have an idea on the back of a napkin with some potential.
Huh.
But our community has got to be a regular part of what we do for the ones who can. Every
Right.
year, I believe in you capital, whether it's 5K, 10K, 25K, 100K. Aside from what you are intending to make money on, in
Right.
addition, I believe in you capital.
I love that. I'm adding that to my goals list. I
Yep.
love that. That is so intentional. And it's like you said, sowing seeds
Yep.
for
Yep.
others. And like I know entrepreneurs starting now, how many times have we wished we had some, I believe, capital, right? To get us going or to keep us going. So to be able to invest in someone else's dream, I love that. That's a wonderful idea.
And if there are people on this call who I believe in you capital, who want to get to a position that I believe in you capital, it's okay. I hear your pitch, I hear your idea, I believe in you. Let's go. It's not put together a 5, 10 year business plan.
Ah,
It's not, I want to talk to you monthly for 6 months. It's not make me chase. I want you to chase me for 2 years
right,
and then I'll give
right.
you money.
Uh-huh.
It's not long and drawn out. It's,
Oh,
hey, I want to believe you. I want to. So that's kind of where we got to get to as a people. It's not everything
yes.
you have. I believe in you, Capital, but a portion
Right,
needs to
right.
be. I believe in you. I want to see you succeed.
I got you. I love that. I love that. Thank you for clarifying that too, because we know how the other side works, but I love that freedom in it. That it's genuine. I
Yep.
genuinely just want to help you. I don't want to make it harder for you.
Yep.
Go
Yep.
build your dream.
Yep.
I love that. So, Carrington, who inspires you in business? Who do you look at today in business, or even historically, that inspires you, or that you use, that you can hear a phrase from them or a speech from them, and it keeps you going?
Yes, a couple of people. So I was so Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio is a co-founder and retired hedge fund manager of Bridgewater Associates. So
Okay.
he's wrote a couple of books, Principles, Life and Work, Principles of Navigating the Changing World Order, Principles. So he's written a couple of different books. So he's a hedge fund manager and an economist. So I look up to him from a business standpoint.
Okay.
And then you got your Bill Gates, who did well and built a great company and now is giving back a lot and
Uh-huh.
encouraging others to do so. Warren Buffett, just a value investor who has built a great investing career over many decades. Elon Musk, you can say what you want about him as a person, but he is moving humanity forward and has got unbelievable work ethic as he's building Tesla, Solar City, SpaceX. Again, you can say what you want about him as a person and his personality, but he's to be admired from a business standpoint and from a success standpoint. Jay-Z, Jay-Z
Hmm.
has got his hands in a lot of different things, and has been able to reinvent himself and an astute businessman and continues to build his empire. You got a lot of athletes, LeBron James, Michael Jordan.
Yes,
There's no
yes.
short. Robert
Uh-huh.
Smith in the private equity world. Tyler Perry. I just watched the Tyler Perry
Oh,
documentary.
yes, yes.
Yeah, Maxine's baby on how he built his empire.
Uh-huh.
A lot more respect for him. There's no shortage of great examples in our community. So those are just some of the folks that I look up to.
Okay. So when you've had a down day, down moment, a down week, a down month, how do you rebound from that?
How do I rebound from that? Just you as an entrepreneur, business owner, you have to wire persistence and grit and a don't quit attitude kind of in your DNA. So
Ah,
I may have some down days, but you just got to keep going. You got to wake up and just keep going at it. Sometimes just take a break. I mean, take a day off, or I probably should vacation more, but I've kind of been heads down for so long that I haven't done that as much. But that's one of the soft ROI benefits, the rewarding part about the vacation rental business. I do get to travel to see the property, so sometimes that's a good change of scenery. Um, what else? Bouncing back. Yeah, there's thankfully, again, I think it's just because I'm wired. There aren't too many times where I just get in a rut and just sulk for a couple of days or just can't get out of it. That's
uh-huh.
that's few and far between.
Okay.
Every once in a while, I may just be like, you know what, I just need to take it may be like an afternoon off, or it may be like,
Uh-huh.
hey, let me try again in the morning.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes that happens, but I usually don't get into deep ruts
Got
or
it.
mini ruts at all. I just keep going.
Got
It's
it.
what I
Got it.
signed up for.
Got it. Got it. Sounds wonderful. Sounds wonderful. So we appreciate you so much for being here with us today, sharing all the great information you've shared with us. We've gotten to know Carrington, the businessman. Now I'm going to ask you a couple of simple, fun questions so we can get to know Carrington, the person. The first one of these is, do you have a hobby, Carrington?
What are my hobbies? I really like business. I like what I do. I like learning. I like looking at different deals. So work is part of my hobby.
Ah,
I mentioned the Columbus Crew and being a season ticket
right,
holder. So I really
right.
like that as an outlet.
Uh-huh.
Traveling, I used to travel a lot before I started building businesses. I put that on pause, but I'm ready to ignite that back up. Reading
That's
is a
good.
hobby. I read a lot. I try to read 30 or 40 books a year. I do a lot of
Okay.
reading. Um, what else? I want to get into yachting. I want to
Ah,
get into yachting. Kind of got my eyes set on a yacht, so I'm trying to build a plan to try to make that a plan. It starts with a plan. It starts with a
got you.
goal.
Exactly,
So yeah, and
exactly.
they're expensive and they're expensive to operate,
Uh-huh.
and I'm nowhere
Yes.
near. I'm nowhere near where I need to be to get one. But this year, I'm taking the cap off of my limitations.
There you
Like
go.
literally, your potential is only limited by your ability to creatively think.
Right.
come up with new ideas, new deals, new products and services. So I took that lid off this year.
Oh,
So I'm gonna try
good.
to make that happen soon. That's about it. Reading,
Okay.
Columbus Crew. Want to get into yachting, travel. Um, yeah.
So when you look at setting, and it's going back to the questions because some sparked when you were saying that. When you look at setting your annual goals, do you set 10-year goals, 5-year goals, 1-year goal, then you break those down to quarterly goals, or how's your goal setting structured?
Yeah. So usually on an annual basis, uh, we set business goals for eShop Capital, for Getaway Society, from McKinley Carter Enterprises. My wife and I set personal goals individually and as a couple. Um, we do it on an annual basis. However, what I've learned or what I'm learning over the last couple of years, because our deals are getting bigger, our real estate projects are getting bigger. Um, our things take longer to materialize.
Got
So
it.
in Orlando, we're building a $7 million house, 14,000
Yes.
square foot house. That's taken 2 years to build. We're looking at a hotel deal that's going to take 2 years to build.
Okay.
Excuse me, real estate development. Real estate development is, it could take 3 to 5 years to
Hmm.
do the apartment building, do the mixed use. Like it's a much longer time frame. So is so what used to be just annual goals is probably gonna have to turn into 3, 5, and then 10-year goals.
Got you. Got you. Understood. Understood.
Excuse me, choking up a little bit.
No problem. So back to the fun stuff. We talked about your hobbies. What would you say was your favorite childhood game?
So I grew up playing video games. So
Okay,
um, let's see, Nintendo, Super Nintendo,
got it.
Nintendo 64, PlayStation. You got your Maddens, your NBA 2Ks, your
Ah, you
Golden
was playing
Isle.
all of them, huh?
Yeah, your Golden Isle, Nintendo 64.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I would say video games. I grew up playing sports as well. I'm mostly soccer and basketball, a little bit of football.
Okay.
Board games, sorry, guess who,
Were you ever into Monopoly?
Trouble. Ironically not. Ironically not.
Interesting.
Even though I
Interesting.
play Monopoly in real life now,
Uh-huh.
never grew up playing Monopoly. We did play Monopoly Junior for a little while. So
Okay.
yeah, Monopoly was a little bit too complicated, and it
Uh-huh.
and it took too long.
Yeah, it's a long game. Yes,
Yeah,
yes. But I've had some people come on and say they just love to play Monopoly.
I'll definitely do it in real life now though.
Yes, yes, definitely. It's not a game
Yep.
for you now. Um, Along those same lines, what would you say is your favorite type of food?
Um, usually traditional American food.
Uh, you
Chicken
have a favorite?
wings.
Okay.
I
You
like
have a
chicken
favorite
wings.
meal?
Wingstop. I like crab legs. So I
Ah,
like
okay.
chicken wings and crab legs.
Sounds
Uh,
good.
Olive Garden lasagna. I like Olive Garden lasagna. I'm pretty simple.
Okay.
Bratwurst, an occasional bratwurst.
Do you cook at all?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. I mean,
Okay.
I'll heat up some chicken or fish.
Yeah, that's not
Um,
cooking. That's not cooking,
it's
Gary.
not. It's not. It's not. And that's a decision I try to. What they say, decision fatigue. There's
Right.
certain.
Got you.
So with
Got
like,
you.
I don't really do a
Yeah,
lot with
whatever.
with
Right.
with clothes. I try to
Uh-huh.
wear something very simple to pick out. Usually eat the same thing for breakfast and lunch. Dinner has a little
Uh-huh.
bit of variety, but I try to eliminate some of those, having to spend mental energy on some of those decisions.
Got it. Got it. So when you think about places you've traveled or places you want to travel, what would be your dream, either your favorite place to travel or your dream travel place?
Vegas is one of my favorite places to go. There's
Okay.
just so many different things to do in Vegas, and it just keeps getting better and better. Costa Rica, really like Costa Rica. Beautiful place,
Mm.
easy to get around, very
Uh-huh.
clean, very peaceful, nice, and nice folks. Africa, I haven't been to Africa yet, but been wanting to
Mm,
go. Ghana, starting to look at some deals in Ghana. Rwanda, one of my connects here in Columbus is from Rwanda. He keeps telling me I need to go there.
uh-huh.
Certainly South Africa. My wife is Bayesian. She's from Barbados, so we usually go there usually every December. So I really
Okay.
like that place as well. Uh, yeah, Maldives. I've been wanting to go to the
Oh
Maldives.
yeah, I want to go there too.
Yeah, takes forever to get there, but it's beautiful. There's I think I've been to maybe nine or 10 countries, not a whole lot. But
Got
again,
it.
I took a long break
Uh-huh.
to especially international travel as I was building my businesses.
Got it. Got it. Beautiful. But all right, that's it, Carrington. Thank you so much again for being with us today. I'm sure my audience have taken a lot of notes. They have learned a lot with this session. I've taken notes myself. I love the ideas you shared with us, the techniques and the ways to build our wealth, to invest, and to think more about than just one stream of income. Thank you
Thank you.
so
It was a
much.
pleasure. I appreciate the invitation.
Wonderful. You
All right.
enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.